Welcome back to another weekend wrap-up edition of the off-season weekend wrap-up. That was weird to say, but whatever. I'm Casey Campbell, and that is RJ Starcevic from the NASCAR Report, which you can find on Instagram. Nice designs there. You should check it out. It's been a busy week, of course. Hopefully you had a good Christmas and a good New Year's. And it's been an interesting time in the NASCAR world, especially dominated by a cryptocurrency coin. We'll get into that later. Let's get the obvious elephant out of the room now, because there's been some interesting developments with that story today. Obviously, as you know, NASCAR has disapproved the LGB coin, or the so-called Let's Go Brandon coin, which obviously, if you know what that means by now, you obviously know what Let's Go Brandon means. I don't want to go into that, but it's been an interesting turmoil because NASCAR has disapproved the sponsorship and all that. And now there's been some more developments, RJ.
More developments, and just literally 10 minutes ago, there was an announcement to Larry's Lemonade will not be continuing their sponsorship with Brandonville Motorsports because of this issue. They released a statement. If you haven't read it, you should probably go read it. They released a statement, and in that statement, they said because of Brandonville Motorsports attempting to try to get this sponsorship with LGB Coin, we will not be continuing our sponsorship of Brandonville Motorsports. So it was very questionable once Brandonville did not have this LGB coin deal come together that they were very excited about. What sponsors were there left? Well, we thought, hey, they got Larry's Lemonade. They want to race with them, right? Well, not anymore. They don't have Larry's Lemonade with them anymore. So don't know what sponsors they have. I'm sure they still have a few, but they're looking to fund the full season. I mean, it's a growing organization. They're looking to get sponsors for the whole season. You look at other single car family-owned teams like Jeremy Clemens, who was able to get a full season of sponsorship like months ago. I mean, it was crazy, amazing for their team. I don't know, Ryan Sieg's team has been doing good with getting their funding down together, and really looked like Brandon Brown's team was on track. And it's unfortunate because their win at Talladega, right? It's supposed to be the big moment. This was supposed to propel them to even bigger things. Circumstances happen, and now we are where we are, where we're looking at an Xfinity Series field that's going to be more stacked than ever. And you got a defending winner last year, the defending winner of Talladega, still searching for something. I mean, that team, we don't know what's going to happen with Brandonville Motorsports.
Obviously, we will keep you updated on that. We could see 50 cars at the Xfinity field at Daytona. And speaking of Jeremy Clemens getting sponsorship, that's why, I mean, you know, obviously, as you know, Steve Carnes is always posting stuff on Twitter. It's besides giveaways and stuff, he's been working really hard. We had Jeremy on last month on the channel, and it was always a good time talking to Jeremy about a lot of things. And that 51 team is really, really building something. I think we're going to try to get Jeremy on in the next few weeks. We'll have to see on that. But yeah, back to Brandonville Motorsports, a back and forth battle between that, which could result in NASCAR banning all political sponsorships. And it's obviously been a hot topic of conversation. What's a political sponsorship? What's not? You look at obviously everything that happened in 2020 after what happened with George Floyd and all the BLM protests and everything that happened with Bubba, and then the Confederate flag, and then everything that happened with that. Now they're trying to ban all political sponsorships, and it looks like they could be possibly doing that.
Yeah, and it's just going to have to be the fine line of, okay, what is the political sponsorship? Where do they draw the line? Because there's been, there's sponsors here and there in NASCAR that, does it seem like this a political sponsorship? I mean, there's outright political campaign sponsorships, which, yeah, that's a political sponsorship. But then there's some others where people question it. I don't know. I feel like so at times it's a lose-lose situation when you're talking about some stuff like that with NASCAR. So it'll be interesting to see how they go about it. But for Brandonville Motorsports, I mean, it's going to be, it's a situation, like you said, it just seems to get worse and worse every day for whether it's Brandonville Motorsports or everybody involved in the situations. So we'll definitely keep you updated all off season with how this goes going into Daytona, because it might come down to the wire. I mean, it could be the week before Daytona and they could be still deciding whether they're going to what they're going to do this season. So who knows?
We'll try to keep you updated on all of that coming up. Besides all that, there's been a lot of other news this week that has really been there. Let's start with the What Alpha Prime Racing? They've had an interesting, they've had an interesting day.
Oh yeah.
Because this morning they announced yesterday they announced their car number of the second car, which was supposed to be part-time. Then today they announced that Sage Karam is going to be running part-time, about 14, 16 races. And then all of a sudden, that second car that was going to be part-time is now full-time. So now Alpha Prime Racing is now a 2-car team.
Yeah, well, obviously totally unbiased here, but I love Alpha Prime Racing, and I
Of
think
course you do. You're supposed to say that.
and I really like what they're building over there, and the model that Tommy Joe obviously wanted to go for here, stepping back from a full-time driver role to now a part-time driver and ownership role with Cesar Baccarella. They've collaborated to make this team. We know Tommy Joe will have select starts next year. Cesar Baccarella probably going to run the super speedways and Homestead. Rajah Caruth, we know he'll have his select short track race he'll be doing. I can't remember what the exact tracks were. I know Andy Lally will be doing the road courses for the team. I mean, you got your road ringer. And then today's announcement, Sage Karam. Well, can't forget about Ryan Ellis. Ryan Ellis is racing as well. I love Ryan Ellis.
Ryan Ellis would come find me if I forgot about him.
Oh, he would kill me if I forgot him. But I can't forget Ryan Ellis. But then today's announcement, Sage Karam. I mean, a guy who initially was kind of seeing if they could work things out to get him a seat at get some time with Jordan Anderson. He had told me that he just wanted to do some Xfinity racing next year, which I thought was awesome. I mean, all the things that Sage Karam could be doing, he wanted to do Xfinity Series racing, and I thought that was very cool. And he got it. Going to have 12 to 15 races next season with Alpha Prime Racing, and like you noted, 2 full-time cars. It was from Tommy Joe as an ownership standpoint. I know this is definitely a motive from Cesar Baccarella. I know he was totally, oh, dude, 2 full-time cars. We're going to do it. Tommy Joe was like, because when he was telling me it went from 1 full-time car, Alpha Prime Racing. We're going to have a part-time driver schedule. And it was, okay, maybe we can do another car race or 2. Okay, we're going to do another car race or 2. Now the second car is full-time. So we'll see where it goes from here. I know this is a job of Cesar Baccarella. I know he's the driving factor behind this, but really cool for Alpha Prime Racing. Really cool for Sage Karam. Great guy. Glad I got to meet him about 3 weeks ago at a rally cross event, which he won. Like, he just showed up and won the whole thing. So awesome for him. He's a great, talented driver. Glad he's in the Xfinity Series.
Of course, and also RJ Starcevic co-hosts the Drivers Meeting podcast with none other than Tommy Joe Martins, which
I'm not supposed to say that. I can't be biased.
It airs every. I do this all the time though. Have you seen my channel and plugging everybody?
Yeah.
Which airs every week, of course, and now is part of the TobyChristie.com family of podcast networks. Toby's doing some stuff, and besides,
shout out to Toby.
Yes, yeah, and he wrecks people. Also, speaking of that, yeah, he will also in Moon. He was in Moon Car this week, and that was interesting.
That's my.
By the way, speaking of Moon Car, you gonna go race Moon Car?
I'm trying. I'm gonna get in the next one. I was trying to race with Toby, and I didn't make it in time. And I told him I was like, shoot, I didn't make it. I watched him though. I cheered him on. He wrecked a few times, but when we I've seen Toby wreck an iRacing before in the Daytona Charity Shootout. It didn't go too well. So, honestly, if we can, me and Toby can race Moon Car and have a clean race, I'll tandem draft with him. I'll do whatever he wants. I think we can make something happen. And
then you'll wreck Toby. Watch. You're gonna.
I'll spin Toby across the line.
Yes, you will. Of course, Moonhead. If you're watching, there's another participant for you, in the greatest sport ever, which is called Moon Car. It's this episode has been brought to you by Moon Car. No, Moon Car is not. Maybe Moon Car is paying for this. I don't know. I don't know. This is interesting. Okay, so there's been a lot of other interesting news this week. There's been a lot of crew chief news this interesting week. Remember Drew Blickensderfer when he left Front Row? Well, apparently we know now where he's going. And it was announced this week that he's going to be going to Stewart Haas Racing to be the crew chief of Eric Almirola. Mike Bugaravich. They decided to get the crew chiefs with the big long names. Apparently, That's a lot of typing, a lot of whatever.
Spelling for their PR guy.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike Arning probably had a fun time putting that release
Right.
together. So yeah, let's and of course there was more crew chief news. Luke Lambert heads over to Junior Motorsports. They reassured their crew chief lineup for that team. Um also they also confirmed that Sam Mayer is going to be in the one car, even though that team already told me a few weeks ago that he was confirmed to the one. Now it is official. Of course, Taylor Moore will be his crew chief. Jason Burdett will stay with Justin Allgaier. And Mike Bumgardner, who worked with Michael Annett last year, is going to remain in the 8 car. And some sponsorship news. Our good friend Michael Carey from TobyChristie.com reported that Pilot Flying J will not return to the one. There's going to be some sponsorship news regarding Sam Mayer coming up in the next few weeks. Also, Blake Harris, who was Martin Truex Jr.'s car chief for several years, is now going to go be a crew chief for Front Row Motorsports and Michael McDowell. Good pairing there. Of course, Drew Blickensderfer left the team a few weeks ago, as we mentioned earlier. And now he's going to go over to the 34 team. And now that crew chief kind of pairing is there and all that, it's been now the shuffling of crew chiefs is there's still some teams that still have to announce. We haven't heard from Colleague yet. They still have to assure their crew chief lineup for this year. GMS for the truck team still has to do theirs. Nice, also we haven't heard from Nice Motorsports on their crew chief lineup. So that of course will be coming very soon. There's been a lot of driver announcements too. We'll get to the two bigger ones in just a moment. But Venturini Motorsports has had an interesting week. Lots of announcements there. Corey Heim and Jesse Love will share the 20 ride for the team. Of course, Jesse will run a majority of the races. Of course, Jesse was, of course, with BMR before last 2 seasons, won the 2-time ARCA West champion. Of course, he'll be riding with Venturini Motorsports this year. Of course, he left BMR after the end of the 2021 season. They also confirmed this week on Tuesday, Jonathan Schaefer was confirmed for 5 races with the team. On Wednesday, Connor Jones was confirmed for select races. And today, help me out here, Landon Pemilton, of course, who won the Valley Star Credit Union 300 at Martinsville, which is a super late model race, was just confirmed today to the team. Got a chance to talk with him. Watch out for that interview coming up probably when I upload this. So who knows? Been a busy week at Venturini, and we'll probably have a lot more announcements regarding that team as we get closer and closer to the ARCA test. More ARCA news. Austin Herzog is going to be driving the BMR Chevrolet for Bill McAnally Racing in the 16. Remember, BMR is Chevrolets this year. Of course, they switched from Chevy to Toyota, from Toyota to Chevrolet, mixed up there a little bit. He'll be on the West Coast. Also, Kyle Keller will be also out there full time in the ARCA West series. Now let's get to the 2 big stories which I think are the 2 biggest stories of the week so far. Let's talk about Ryan Preece. We found out what his plans are going to be. Ryan Preece is going to be doing a lot of stuff. He's going to be the reserve driver for the team. Sounds like F1 terms a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So he'll be the reserve driver for the team. He'll also be the simulator driver for the team as well. He'll be in select cup races, maybe about 1 or 2. The team not confirmed yet on that. He'll also be in some select Xfinity races, but he will also be in about 7 truck races for DGR. Remember, he won the truck race at Nashville last year for that team, and really it's like, oh yeah, Ryan Preece is still a race car driver, and he's still pretty good. So, but ultimately, I think this is a move for his future. Remember, everyone kind of referenced today the path that Alex Bowman took to get to Hendrick Motorsports, and look what happened there. Is this kind of like that similar path? Because I think it could be. This is, I think, the biggest career move for Ryan Preece, as we got, possibly, Kevin Harvick coming up, possibly retiring.
Yeah, I think this is a move for the future for sure, and I like it. I think it's the best possible move for himself. He's going to put himself in this program with an option to potentially move up at any time. You got multiple drivers at Stewart Haas Racing like Eric Almirola, Kevin Harvick that could be nearing the end of their Cup Series careers. Does he step in there when they're all said and done? And it's looking like that could be the case with Ryan Preece being on the team. His relationship with Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick thinks high of them or high of him. And it had kind of been something where I feel like they'd been trying to get him there for a few years. And now they kind of have him incorporated in a way where I think Ryan Preece is pretty happy. I mean, the dude's going to get to run in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series and some Cup races. And who knows what you can build from that. You could strike some deals with some other teams to get some additional races during the season as well. And so, we'll see. The teams wasn't announced officially for Xfinity and Cup, but it's going to be SHR aligned teams. So I would expect it could be in one of the Rick Ware cars for the Cup Series, SHR powered, or BJ McLeod car in the Xfinity Series, SHR powered. So either way, but we do know he will be driving for David Gilliland Racing, the team where he scored a victory in literally his first start at Nashville, which he will return to run the Xfinity and the truck races there. So overall, great move for Ryan Preece. We know he's a guy that just wants to go out there and chase some trophies. Going to get to do it next year, but a move for the future for sure.
Absolutely. Speaking of trucks, there was a significant announcement there too, and I think this is the biggest story. The Ryan Preece story was a big announcement, but I think this one was probably got the most talk of the day today. Obviously, it's I won't do it. You and I, I think there wasn't a lot of talk about where Matt DiBenedetto was heading. And there was a lot of talk that's like, oh, is he going to get a ride? Is he going to get a ride? I'm like, just hold on. It's coming.
Yeah.
Well, it came today. And because he will be heading to the Rackley War Team. Of course, that is the 25 team. That is, of course, the team that is owned by Willie Allen, of course, out of the Rackley War Center, out in, of course, in Nashville. But he'll be driving for them. Of course, Matt DiBenedetto had to get through a snowstorm that's pounding Tennessee right now. And that was fun. But this is probably, I think, the most interesting free agent move was where Matt DiBenedetto was going to go after he left the Wood Brothers. This is actually going to be his first start in the Truck Series. He said today it's kind of going back to his roots. I know that you and I have kind of been talking about this move because, I know there was a leaked image on Twitter of him in a Rackley War suit, which we won't.
Did that?
I don't know. We won't go there. Okay, so this is probably the most, and obviously I think people don't forget. I think what Matt DiBenedetto kind of ruffled a few feathers, especially with we don't need to go into to remind ourselves, of course, he was caught saying the famous "Let's go Brandon" phrase. We all know what that means. But I think this is a big move for him. Kind of, restart his career a little bit and just give it a go at it.
Yeah, as a driver, I definitely think Matt DiBenedetto, as far as the options that were available, I think this is definitely one of the best ones that became available. I mean, you have the 25 team, which is pretty much set on funding already. They're able to bring in kind of a driver of their choice. They were able to wait during the offseason to see who was still available. They bring in Matt DiBenedetto, and for a team that is pretty solid, had some solid runs with Josh Berry, even with Timothy Peters at some points last season, even though that didn't work out. And for Matt DiBenedetto, a guy that just is going to want to prove himself, right? He feels like he needs to prove himself after, a few years in the Cup Series. People thinking he's not performing up to par. He wants to perform up to par. And we've seen people go from the Cup Series to the Truck Series and be very successful in different situations, like John Hunter Nemechek. That might be a little different. But I think a solid team is, they're going to be focusing on that truck a lot this season. We know their alliance with GMS Racing too. They got good trucks. Another year in the Truck Series as well. Kind of last year was a building year for that team too. So Matt DiBenedetto, we know he's a talented race car driver, and now he's going to be in a race truck. And I think definitely they could have some good things happen to that organization next year. I think some success is on the way.
Absolutely. There's definitely this is a good move for him, and obviously when I first heard about this, so obviously I kind of had an idea that this might go down. I had heard rumblings that he was going to go there before obviously, well, before the leaked image was leaked, and obviously with that, and obviously hearsay and don't take seriously, but yeah. This is a good move for him, and I think a lot of people were surprised that he did get a full-time ride, because there was a lot of talk that he wasn't, but just shows you that you never know what could happen in this sport.
No, you don't.
Yep. All right. That's going to do it for another edition of the Weekend Wrap-Up Show. The preview show will be back. I announced that it will be back on February 3rd. So all our friends, of course, all our friends, of course, the people that appear on this channel a lot, like you, Jonathan Fiel, Mitchell Brewer, Taylor Kitchen, who was on earlier this week, Harry Loomis, Marty Zakala, Nathan Solomon, and some other friends. I think Michael Carey's coming back on to talk about paint schemes again. So that'll be fun. And also, we got some fun drivers coming on. Guess who we had on today? We had a lot of cool people on today.
We did.
We had Todd Gilliland on today. That was pretty cool. Go check out that interview. Of course, lots been happening with him. Got a cup ride and just proposed to his now fiance Marissa. So of course Todd will be riding in the Cup Series and also planning a wedding. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
And if you want to go check out the latest Grant Enfinger, I got a chance to talk to Grant Enfinger as well. That interview is up. We got to talk about a lot of things, of course, joining GMS. We also talked about the Atlanta test, of course, that he was a part of, along with John Hunter Nemechek and Tanner Gray in trucks. Also, Ty Gibbs, Riley Herbst, and Justin Allgaier were part of in the Xfinity, and also the Atlanta test. And it's like talking about Atlanta's its own beast now. There's it's not Daytona, it's not Talladega, it's just Atlanta. It's its own, for better or for worse. I don't know. I know a lot of people weren't a fan of it, but
Find out.
Well, let's find out. We'll have to see how that goes. Of course, Daytona's coming up for that next gen test. You gonna be down there for that? You're in Florida.
I'll be there, baby. We'll be in attendance. I hear the cars are very loud. That's what Toby told me. So gonna have to. I'll be prepared for that. I heard there's gonna be some people there too. They're opening the grandstands, opening the fan zone. It's gonna be packed as usual as Daytona. We'll see how many people show up. But yes, I'll be there. It'll be fun. Hopefully a lot of cars show up. We'll see which cars show up, and kind of get us ready for the Daytona 500.
Yeah, I saw the
preseason Thunder.
Yep, saw the Iceberg's going to be down there. Of course, they'll be joined by the ARCA. The ARCA cars, of course, will be down there for their annual ARCA test down at Daytona. So that will be fun as well. So, and of course, the LA Clash is coming up just in about a month's time, and the season will be here. Got some more team previews coming up. Got some more interviews. Got a big one tomorrow. You know who's going to come on tomorrow? Come on. Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick will be on tomorrow.
That's a good one.
He will be. There's been a lot of talk about him, so we're going to talk to him about that. Monday we got an IndyCar driver coming on tomorrow as well. So a new face to the IndyCar series. We'll let you figure out who that is coming up. That will be tomorrow. And plus, we also talked to I already forgot his name, Landon Pemberton. Yes, now I remembered. We talked with him tonight, so that will be up there. We got some other interviews planned throughout there. We got a big day Monday because we got some more. We got I'm not gonna say anything. I revealed too much. So, but yeah. All right. He's RJ. I'm Casey. We'll see you later.